Welcome to the studio. It's Floral here and I'm so glad you've joined me. Today I'm sharing with you a lesson from one of my Skillshare classes, class number 5, Beyond Reality Crafting with Real and Imagined Worlds. Now this class is one from my series of 100 days of collage. It's a huge epic journey and it's the most comprehensive mixed media art class I've ever created. This lesson is day 32, Nature's Fantasy, and I know you're going to love it because I'm sharing with you some great tips of how to capture really beautiful floral designs when you're jelly printing. Now, shh, don't tell anybody that I'm sharing this lesson with you because you'll find it in the class on Skillshare. Have a look there. The link's in the description under the video. And if you've never been on Skillshare, you can click on the link, go straight there, and the first month is free. So jump in now and have a look at these beautiful prints made with the fabulous fresh flowers. I'm pretty excited for this lesson and I had a brilliant idea. I decided I wanted to create some jelly prints with some actual fresh flowers. So I walked to my local florist shop. It's actually called the Village Florist. The florist shop is absolutely beautiful. Don't they smell amazing when you walk in? Oh, all of the colors and shapes of the glorious flowers. And I ended up deciding on one of the beautiful posies. It was actually quite hard. There's so many to choose from. But I came home with this one and I'm pretty happy with my choice. The lady at the florist actually gave me some extra flowers because I told her I was going to print with them. So she gave me some flowers that were a little bit old or that she couldn't use, and I thought that was pretty kind. So I've pulled out my jelly plate and I decided I would use my extra flowers first and see how they print. I'm putting muted pink on the plate, one simple color. I decided I was going to start very simply, push the flowers onto the plate, see how they print, and then I thought I would develop my brilliant ideas from there. Using the extra flowers, they worked so good. Look how detailed they are and how beautiful they look. I pushed the flowers into the paint and pulled the print straight away, and I'm using tea bag paper. I've never actually used tea bag paper before. I bought some recently and I'm pretty happy with it. It's pretty soft. It pulls quite well. It's very strong. I'm going to experiment some more with it. It's definitely not as strong as wet strength tissue, but it does feel more textured and softer, which I really like. Look at the incredible detail of the flowers. I'm so impressed with how they printed. So yes, of course, I might have gotten into a printing frenzy. Next, I pulled apart the posy and picked out some more of the flowers. I'm using orange on the plate, definitely influenced by the beautiful colors of the flowers. Even the posy, yes. So I picked the one with the orange paper around it because I just love these colors. They're so happy to me. I'm using a couple of different sizes on the plate, which look really, really good. The flowers just work like a stamp, basically. And then I pulled the print with Liquitex Basics in gold. Look how fabulous it is. This one's actually still got some of the ghost print from the print before, from that color, but it worked really well because it's a really nice texture. I like all the different shapes and the variety of the flowers. I think it's working really well and it's just so easy to do. This one I'm being very brave and starting with yellow. This is a nickel ozo yellow. It's a beautiful paint. It's very transparent. Of course, I had to throw in a bit of orange because it was just a little too yellow. I pushed the different flowers on and let it dry. I rolled on the next color. I think it was magenta, and I sprayed it with a little water. Now, you know how this technique goes. You have to wait for each layer to dry before you move on to the next one. That's going to make successful prints and a really beautiful texture. And then I pulled this print with bronze. Now what I absolutely love about this print is I put the flowers back on the same places when the paint had already started to dry. So as I pushed the flower on and pulled it off, it pulled more of the paint off, so I have more of the background color coming through, and I think that worked really well because it makes a more defined print. You can see bigger areas of the flowers, and that really is a whole lot of fun. I love that you can see the beautiful bronze coming through. That worked really well. There's so many ways to print these flowers. You just have to experiment, try some ideas and see what works. Now the next one, I started with muted pink again and created my beautiful flower pattern design. I then put on a layer of transparent iron oxide, and of course I sprayed it with gold mine because now I'm just on a roll. Now I just have to spray that beautiful bling everywhere. I pulled the print with Titan Buff, and it did pull a little on the plate. Yes, because there was a spot of the gold mine ink that wasn't quite dry. Now, what did I say? Wait for each layer to dry. But I absolutely love the details in these prints, and I was having so much fun. I was getting so excited. I just wanted to try the next one and the next one. You can see the beautiful gold mine in this. You can see the splashes coming through there. And this one's really quite detailed in the beautiful flower prints. I'm really loving it. I think it looks beautiful. Remember, you do have to wait for the layers to dry. Then I pulled the posy apart a little more and pulled out some of the leaves and some of the smaller flowers. I wanted to see what the other shapes of the flowers would print like, if they would print at all, because they're very delicate and they're really tiny. I wasn't sure how well they would print, if they would leave much of a mark. I was using muted grey with this one. It's a really nice colour. I'm really enjoying these Liquitex muted series at the moment. I think the colours are beautiful. Now the flowers work like a mask, so the first print you're just taking off the paint from around the flowers. It's the ghost print that we really want. Of course, you can add colour to that first print. You can print over it again with more shapes, which we've done before, or you could spray it with the icings, or you can use it in your collage to add multiple layers, because if you've put it on any of the tissues, you'll be able to see underneath layers coming through. So there's so many possibilities for using that print. But of course, I absolutely love the ghost print best. I gave it a spray with a little bronze shimmer and pulled the print with Titan Buff. And I absolutely love it. Look how good it looks. You could see the texture there from the beautiful spray bronze shimmer on the print. And I really love the detail of the flowers and the leaves in the beautiful grey colour. It worked better than I thought it was going to. I'm pretty happy with it. So of course I had to do it again. Why would we want to do it once when we can do it twice? I'm using the same muted grey with this one, putting a bunch of the little tiny flowers and the leaves on the plate, pushing it down with wet strength tissue just to get all of that paint from around the flowers. Now you have to give it a really good press with your fingers to get in and around all those little bits and pieces. I even gave it a roll with my brayer just to make sure it was really getting contact with the gel plate, because you want to try and get as much detail in that ghost print as you can. Now this time, after the ghost print was dry, I put on another layer of paint and decided to push the flowers into it, because I wanted to create a background of the flower shapes behind the beautiful little tiny ones and the leaves that I was printing with the ghost print. I decided, let's try it. So I pushed the flowers into the paint. Of course, you have to let it dry. Gave it a spritzer. Everything got thrown onto this print. And then I pulled the print with Titan Buff. I absolutely love it. You can see the glorious flowers here. You can see the leaves in the muted grey. You can see all the tiny little ones. But then behind that, you can see the fabulous shapes of the flower prints where I've pushed it into. I think it was transparent iron oxide that I was using. Pushed those flowers onto the plate to get that great design behind it as a background. I'm loving it. I think it looks fabulous. And I really like the way that I built up the ideas and created the prints consecutively using the flowers and then using the little ones, and then the last one, it's got everything in it. The flowers and the little ones and the leaves and the bronze shimmer, all of the above, and I enjoyed myself immensely. I mean, possibilities are endless. I could have kept going and going and printing because I was having so much fun. And I'm quite surprised at how detailed the flowers print. I'm really impressed with them. So now I just have to decide which ones do I want to use to create my collage, my nature's fantasy, and am I going to add something otherworldly in my collage? That's a question too. Or am I just going to leave it with these beautiful floral prints? Well, we'll have to pull out the art journal, have a little think, and see what we're going to create. Right, so I've got my art journal out and all of my prints now. The problem is going to be deciding because I absolutely love all of them. I love the gold shining through on this one. That would work really well. And I really like these ones as well. So I have to decide which ones I'm going to use and then what am I going to add to it to make it a little bit different, give it another dimension. I'm not sure because they're just beautiful and I really love them. Look at that, the way that flower printed. And these ones with the beautiful sparkly gold mine on them, man, they're just glorious. Now, I have to decide, I'm going to have to break it down into what can I not live without. So I'm thinking maybe this one because I just think the print's really defined well and it's got my sparkly bling, which I love. And then I was thinking if I put a print on like this, I think I might add some glass beads as the added dimension. So if I put a stencil on in glass beads, which has got some flowery shapes, on top of my flower print, I'm adding another dimension to it. And I really like the thought of that. Now, we looked at glass beads in the previous class, so if you've still got some, how much fun is this? I love using the materials a few times. When I put them on, they're going to be completely white, and then they usually take at least 24 hours, sometimes 2 days, depending on the weather, to dry, and they dry perfectly clear. But I want to have that glorious shape over the top of these beautiful flowers. Now, the trouble, do I want to use this print or do I want to use this print? Oh man, it's going to be a tough one to decide. That could look quite dramatic on that color. That could work really well. A few of them would work really well. And on this side, do I want this print or this print? Because I really like the way it's so different to the flower print. Maybe I'll use this one because I love how it's got everything on it. It's got those shapes and the flowers printed behind. And then I'm going to have to find something else to add a little extra three-dimensional something to the print, just to give it a little bit something special. Righto, well, I'll nail down that decision, glue them onto my pages, and then we'll see where we're at. Well, it definitely wasn't an easy decision because I love all of the prints. I think they turned out really well. I think they turned out better than I actually expected, which is really nice. So I decided on these ones because I think what I like about it is that it will remind me when I flick back through my art journal what the technique was and what I liked about it. I absolutely love the detail in this print. I think it turned out amazing. And I like the way this one has the flower prints behind it and the smaller little flowers and leaves. Ghost print on the top. It's a good example of so many options. There's so many possibilities and things you can try with such a simple technique. Right, so the backgrounds are down. Definitely going with my glass bead idea. I think that'll be a lot of fun. I'm going to put that next on this side with this stencil and have a rummage around and find something to put on here. Right, so I've got my glass beads and I'm putting it on this stencil, which fits perfect. I love the glass beads. I love how beautiful and clear they go, just adding another dimension to the artwork without adding any more color, but the beautiful texture is just glorious. So I'll put this on. It's adding another dimension to my flowers, which I'm really excited about. It's like the invisible realm. That's how I see it. I might just put it in different places, not over the entire stencil, just in bits and pieces of the design. That will be fun. And then we'll have to leave it to dry. And I've got to find something for the other side. And I think this is going to look just beautiful. I think that's enough. I mostly got it in the center. And I'm happy about this plan. Right. Ta-da, ta-da. Let's have a look at that. Yes, when that dries perfectly clear, it's going to be beautiful and shine with the glorious glass beads, and it adds that invisible realm or other dimensions to my nature's fantasy. I just love it. Glass beads are on, and I've pulled out this Lotus flower mask. This is from PM Artist Studio, and as you can see, it's got the beautiful iridescent bronze fine on it. Of course it has, because that's what I like to print with. But what do you think? I'm thinking it'd look amazing putting it on there. It gives the flowers another dimension, a three-dimensional aspect to the page, and it really suits the design. I think the shape of this lotus flower suits the shape of these flowers. I think it looks great. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna stick it right there like that on the page. I love it. I think it finishes that really well. That's gonna dry perfectly clear and look beautiful and shiny. And I'm really happy with these collage pages. I loved making the prints. It was such a pleasure, such a joy playing with the flowers and the natural textures on the gel plate. I definitely want to do that again. That was really fun. I think there's so many ideas that we can try using the actual natural elements on the plate. Different layers, different textures, and as we move along in the class and we learn different techniques, we just get to build them into other ideas. I really liked spraying the layer on the gel plate. I thought that worked really well to add the texture behind the flowers. And it's really fun to keep using the techniques, keep learning, growing, and developing. That's the whole point of the class. It's about developing your creativity, learning different techniques, experimenting along the way, and growing as a creative person. Of course, it has to be a lot of fun, or I don't want to play, which is why we have such a variety of themes and textures. And by the time you actually finish all 100 days of this whole series, you will know everything that I know. Isn't that just exciting? I think that's pretty exciting. So I'm going to let these pages dry. I'll give you a close-up, and I can't wait to see what you're creating with this theme. Don't forget, you can post as many photos as you like in my Facebook group. I just would love to see what you're working on. Okay, we'll let that dry, give you a close-up, and then we're on to the next lesson. I think it's Space Odyssey. How exciting. Thanks for joining me today. I really loved making this lesson. Well, actually, I really love making all my lessons. So come and find me on Skillshare. Venture through the whole journey from day number 1. We're going right through to day 100. It's a whole year's epic adventure. I know that you'll love it. It's a lot of fun. You're going to learn an incredible amount of techniques, and we're creating absolutely fantastic artwork. There's more information in the description under the video, or else go straight to my website floral.com and you'll find more information there. I'll see you next time in the studio.